Yeah, some of my friends take Adderall because they can't pay attention in class.
Yes, well, I don't take Adderall, but I know I've met people and have friends that take it.
Yes, I'm both just a pill and snorted it.
Yes, I know people who take Adderall. I mean, I guess if you take too much, no, I don't think Adderall is fine.
I'd say that, yeah, I probably think it was dangerous.
I think if you get addicted to it, it is. I don't know if Adderall is addicting, but maybe the symptoms of Adderall.
I'd say yes, because I feel like the same people use it over and over.
Adderall can be addictive, but it depends on your personality.
I took Adderall every day and slowly built up an immunity to the dosage I was prescribed, so I started taking more. And then I guess I tried to experiment with other drugs just to see what different drugs felt like. Obviously Adderall is an extreme upper. I discovered I didn't like pot, I didn't like the downers at all, I didn't like anything that made me feel like I wasn't in control. And uppers make you feel hyper in control. So then I moved to, later in high school, probably my senior year of high school, I moved to Coke and did that for a couple of years, and then I quit that but still was taking Adderall, and then eventually quit Adderall.
What is Adderall? Adderall is commonly used to treat ADHD and narcolepsy. Adderall is a stimulant that causes an effect that attracts students looking for a way to focus.
Between 1999 and 2003, there were 24 deaths of patients in the U.S. linked to Adderall, a higher death rate than for any other ADHD drug. There were 16 deaths in that period linked to Ritalin use and 11 deaths linked to other ADHD drugs.
Nearly 90% of students who recently used Adderall non-medically had engaged in binge drinking in the past month, and more than half used alcohol heavily and regularly.
Several recent studies show that students who abuse Adderall appear to be the type of people who engage in other risky behavior.
Between 1999 and 2003, there were 24 deaths of patients in the U.S. alone that were linked to Adderall.
My name is Josh, and Adderall ruined my life. Where I come from, not many people go to college. I was the valedictorian of my class and was accepted early into the University of Georgia. There was a lot of pressure from my family and mentors to succeed, and early on in my freshman year, I began to struggle with exams. My roommate suggested I try Adderall to stay up all night and study for a test. It worked like a charm, and that fall I never took another test without it. Every time I took it, I had to take more and more to get the same effects. I used to get really bad crashes where I'd fall asleep in class the day after tests. I didn't know it then, but my body had become addicted to Adderall. During midterms that following spring, I took my usual 40 milligrams at midnight to study for a test. At about 6 a.m., I took another 40 milligrams to make sure I didn't crash while I took it. About halfway through the test, I couldn't stop shaking and tapping my feet. I began to become paranoid about the people around me. Did they know I was on Adderall? Why could I not stop shaking? I'm never going to finish this test. I had a pretty bad panic attack that resulted in university police arresting me for suspicion of drug possession. A few hours later, Athens-Clarke County Police raided my dorm and found 16 20-milligram pills of Adderall on my desk. The minimum penalty for simple possession of a Schedule II controlled drug is a felony charge and 2 years imprisonment. Because this was my first offense, however, I received 3 years probation and was required to take an addiction class offered by the state. The UGA Judicial Board agreed to the state's sentence and threatened expulsion if I violated my probation. Within the first year, the addiction proved too much for me, and I tested positive for amphetamines without a prescription. I was expelled immediately and sentenced to 2 years in a minimum security jail. Looking back, I wish I would have never taken that first pill and realized how addictive Adderall can become if abused.
If you or someone you know is abusing Adderall, there is help out there. You are not alone. Here's a list of hotlines available.